Okay, so we move on to bag H, and well, bag H is quite a busy part of the manual. So H begins here, and we have steps 1, 2, 3 and 4 for bag H, along with 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10 for bag H. So this is quite a busy bag, this one. Just having a quick review, and I don't see much in the way of anything difficult here. Just again following drawings, placing bearings where they should be, and using the correct screws and pins for where they should be. This is the central transfer gearbox. It goes in the middle of the Land Rover. Yeah, I might come to the slipper clutch area, just placing that slipper clutch area, and probably got a little bit of adjusting to do, I would have thought, somewhere along the line. Yeah, other than that, it's quite straightforward. Yeah, we'll get stuck in. Nice busy step. So as we go into the first steps of bag H, I just wanted to point out this this part here. So this is one of the main shafts. This is the input shafts. Just take a moment here and just look at the engineering here. I don't know if you can pick this up on the camera, but it's had to be turned. And you've got this groove here. It's got this shank here. You've got this flared section here, and then it changes a diameter here, then it changes another diameter again, and then it changes again to diameter, and then goes into a screw thread. And on this center section there's also some flat areas as well, so there's some flatting and all that. Just take a little step here and think how we take all this engineering for granted. I mean, just a piece like this, just imagine how much effort has gone into making just this one piece, and then take a look at the rest of the kit and think, wow, yeah, some engineering. Anyway, I just wanted to point it out, just an interesting fun fact. I'm going to continue on, put this together, and I'll show you the stages as I've done it, because it's fairly straightforward. Oh, here we are. This is step 1. So there's your input gear, your idler gear, very straightforward, and of course the last one, that gear. Okay, you can move on to the next part of the step 2, which is this guy over here. And again, fairly straightforward, putting things and screwing things together. So I won't bore you with the details of how to do that, just that it can be made. So just to sort of demonstrate how good these manuals are, so here's our central diff here, and we need to put in, first of all, it says here, step 1, place the pin in. See, so it's actually telling you how to do this. Then the gear, then of course the little E-clip, okay, and then last but not least, step 4, your bearing. There we go. So now we have this ready. So can you see it actually telling you how to put this in, so you get this in the right order. Really nice, good detail. On to step 3 of bag H, where we're going to use some of the component parts that we have. We're also going to use this. So step 1, we need to take our component, and we need to make sure we get the right component. So kind of looking at that, it's this one, and we need our mounting plate, which is our motor mounting plate, because the motor will go on here. So we need to make sure we get this the right way round as well. So don't think it matters yet each side, and looking at the holes, making sure they're lined up. 2 holes across the top, and these holes are across there, which is good, and this hole at the top, so that looks pretty good. And we've got to get this screw into this hole, and it's a button head M3 by 16. So we've got to make sure we get this lined up nicely. So it's this one here goes. So I believe it's going to go something along the lines of like that. Okay, we get our button head screw and screw it in place, and then we'll put the rest of these gears. So our input shaft, or input gear, our idler gear, and our locked diff. And there we are. As you can see, we've now got our input shaft, our idler gear, and our locked central diff. So next stage, we're going to need to put the cover on here. So the cover is going to go over this, and we're then going to screw it all nice and secure. But before I put the cover on, let's put some grease on here to make it nice and greased up and ready for ourselves. And then it's just a case of screwing the cover on with these M3 by 40s. I won't get you to see me screwing things together. Again, it's straightforward to do. But yeah, okay, back to you once I've done. And there we are, there's the finished one there. Just pay attention, this is a 45mm one here at the bottom, and these are 40. Okay, just pay attention, 45 onto this one. Okay, all done, we'll move on to the next bit. So step 5 of bag H, it's placing the end cap over the end here, and not forgetting our anti-torque twist gear that goes in here. Quite simple. I'll just get that done and show you. And there we are, the correct screws used, the anti-torque twist gear is in, and yep, there we are. So we can move on to the next step 6 of bag H. Okay, we're still on bag H, and we're now doing step 6, and here's the components that we need here to go onto our central gearbox. So we've got this 15867 part, which is like a plastic spacer. We've got the 15868, which is a metal, it's almost like a sandwich, you're making a sandwich in effect, so it's like a clamping plate. You've got your friction material, which is 15869. You've got 2 of those that fit either around your spur, and again the other side of the clamping plate, your spring, washer, and your locking nut. And we simply put all this together, and it's just telling you keep the slipper clutch assembly clean from any oil, so no greases or oils. You've got to compress this spring a bit, so you've got to compress this a bit to get it on there, and you can fine tune it once you've got your motor and things in place, and once you've got the car built. So let's just put this together. It's fairly straightforward, making sure you just put the right components in the right place. Quite straightforward to do. There you have it. It's slipper clutch in place, and what you do is just wind this, hold this on there and wind this on so the spring compresses. And well, I suppose we need to adjust this at a later stage. So, but yeah, gearbox turns nicely, quite smooth in fact. So yeah. Right, anyway, that's compressed, that's all hold there. We now move on to cover the gearbox up after putting a motor joist in there, because the motor on step 7 is next. The motor doesn't come with it, so you have to buy your motor, your chosen motor, and it just so happens I have one. So let's move on to the next step. So we're moving on to now step 7. Step 7 is attaching the motor and pinion and putting that into place, and then recovering the cover. So as you see, I've got the components here. This is my chosen motor. It's a torque tuned motor, 33 turn torque tuned motor that I've had in my stores, shall we say. And we've got the little 3x8mm screws and washers. I've actually put those ready so you can see. We've got our pinion, we've got our little grub screw for the pinion, a couple of more 3mm washers, and a couple of 3x6mm that we use to fasten the plate on the end. It's a case of fastening on, putting the pinion gear on, straightforward stuff. So not going to be too detailed with there, that's straightforward for anyone. I'll just show you what it looks like. So a quick side tip in here is that this motor is a Tamiya torque tune 33 turn motor. Manual says that first use you need to sort of tune and run the brushes, break the brushes in for about 5 minutes at 3 volts. So you can kind of see a couple of AA's, a couple of soldered tag wires, and I'm running the motor 3 volts, so I'll just leave that on there for about 5 minutes. So ideally what we're looking for is, I'm going to pick it out on here. Should we see if it picks it out? Yeah. Deep inside there you can kind of see where the brushes meet the commutator, and the idea is we want to make sure we get a good seal there. And interestingly, it does say as well, after running this motor, that it's also recommend running it at 3 volts for 5 minutes after each run to extend the life of the motor. So yeah, we'll look after it. It's a quality motor, it's a Tamiya, so yeah. Anyway, so that's running that in. And there we have that completed unit. Now we've added our motor in, and yes, I've done a running in period with the 3 volts to run in those bushes, and yeah, it's all put together and the cap's on. So there we are, and we can now move on to the next. And step 8 of bag H is adding these guards on and bracket using the 3x8mm pan head or button screws. Again, very straightforward and very easy. And that was a nice easy step. So just 4 screws. Just got to make sure this is the right way round. Just sort of drawing the way these bits go in here. Okay, we move on to the next one. So steps 9 and 10 of bag H are due together really, because we've got our central gearbox and we're going to need to put our drive shafts that come out. And so first of all, what this is trying to refer to, this bit here, is that one side of this screw has one side of this cup has a screw thread on it and one side doesn't. So you need to make sure you're putting the pin in the right way. So that's what that's referring to. So one bit's got a screw thread and one hasn't. But also jumping ahead and looking at 10, it's saying that the flat faces are needed to be outwards. So the area with the lip on it, this cup end here, this part of the universal joint here, this has got the lip on it, because you can just slightly see there. If I can get that there. So we need to make that bit on the gearbox end, so on both sides of that, so you're having the flat bit outwards. So looking ahead, just look ahead there. I'm just going to screw these into place. Quite easy job otherwise, just making note of the orientation and the screw. Okay, and there we have the completed middle transfer gearbox and motor. It's all done, and your shafts here, making note that that's the flat end on the output there on both sides. So yeah, easy enough to do, no problem. On to the next.